What is going on, Millennial Morticians? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of this incredible podcast. I have some exciting news, some exciting things to share before we start with today's episode. First and foremost, I want to say if you haven't had the opportunity or the chance, please make sure you go and check us out on Apple Podcast. There's some great episodes up there for you to catch up on and some new ones on the way. So if you have an Apple product, be sure to tune in on all of your devices. I'm excited about today's episode. It's something really interesting, really fascinating, and something I want you to use in whatever situation you face in the funeral home. The title of today's episode is I'm binge watching. I'm binge watching. Okay, so I got this title because a lot of times when you're watching like shows like Netflix, Hulu, we have all these cool and different streaming services out there. Um, a lot of people say, well, hey, I've been binge watching this show or this movie. And I'm like, oh, okay. Now, mind you guys, I'm not a huge TV person. I'm not really into TV and movies that much, but I'll watch a good one from time to time if it comes across my mind to watch. I love a good scary movie, believe it or not. And so I'll hear my friends say, you should try binge watching this show with me or watch it. And my focus isn't really that good. And so I'll try here and there to, watch little bits of where I can. And it doesn't work out most of the time. Most of the time I'll get past the first two episodes and then I just stop watching the show. But binge watching in the funeral industry is important. And it's intertwined in ways that I feel like I really could relate to and that you guys could as well. Um, as a apprentice in the funeral home at this moment in time, as I'm furthering deeper and deeper into my career and venturing more into this amazing field and all the things it has to offer, there's a lot of times where I realize that I'm just standing or watching, binge watching my mentor and whatever she's doing, how she's moving, how she's fixing things, her tricks. What is she doing that could make my job easier if I came across a situation like that? And when I first started, I used to be so intent on making sure that my eyes were completely glued to the body and whatever we were working on, just to make sure I didn't miss a single second or a single moment of what was happening or what was going on in the process, because I wanted to pick up as much knowledge and information as I could with our time together. And so I would binge watch that, and I would take notes, and I would ask a million billion questions, and just really try to expand my knowledge. But as with any show, as time goes on, you're watching constantly, and there's some certain things and certain parts of the show that you no longer have to watch. I thought about this because, and sometimes I want you guys to understand, sometimes that can be an incredible thing. There's parts of the show or parts of the learning process in the funeral home that you just don't have to watch anymore because you feel like you've experienced in it. You know it. Your mentor knows you know it. And you've shown that you are proficient in that area. But what I noticed watching my Netflix show earlier this week is, and I noticed this a little bit as I further more and more into my program, is that there's times, if you can catch it on time, in the beginning of a Netflix series or a Netflix movie, you can press the button, skip intro. And you skip the intro because you've seen it a million times. You know the theme song, you know the characters. And there's parts of the process when you're learning that you just kind of feel like you can we can skip the intro and jump right into it. But what I've noticed is, and I want you guys to understand is, even though we're learning, we're engaging, and we're pushing through mortuary school, or we're veterans in this incredible industry, there's so many moments that slip your mind and you don't even realize it, or things you could possibly miss. And so I don't want this to be an area where you're lacking in. And I don't want this is an industry where you have to be very careful about what you say and what you do and how it's affecting the work environment. And you can't make any mistakes in this industry. You only have one chance to give families an incredible, unforgettable funeral service, excuse me. And so you just have to get it so right. And unlike any other industry, you cannot skip the intro in funeral service. You're constantly watching. You're constantly on the look. You're constantly trying to learn more. Why do you think these incredible organizations, these incredible companies, NFDA convention, these things, they're always trying to make sure that they're educating people and helping people grow in the industry and learn more about new techniques and new things. Because, guys, like these episodes, things evolve, things change every day so quickly. And with technology quickly advancing, as we all know, you have to be up to date as much as you can on the changes in this field and in our industry, and keep that passion and that drive alive. But the best part about it is this: at any moment in time with those notes, that's why I always tell you, when you're in that, when you're learning, when you're an apprentice, the best thing you can do, and something you have to understand in this industry, you have to humble yourself, number one. So be very humble, because you were selected to do some incredible work. Humble yourself, and remember, the greatest gift you have, your greatest asset, is your ears. You're going to be constantly listening to families. You're going to be constantly listening to teachers all day. Our job is to listen to what the people want and be effective in making it happen for them and delivering on our promises as industry professionals, as industry leaders, as people who want to do something that hasn't been done in a way that's going to leave a lasting impression on people and on families. And a lot of times, when we feel like we know something a little too much, we'll hit the mute button on the TV, or we're like, oh, I'm going to mute that. In funeral industry, don't mute anybody. Be open to listen to anybody, hear anybody, talk to anybody, and just get different perspectives on the different areas of the funeral business. And you can never learn too much about this industry and about how people work, because let me tell you something. Just like it takes a network of people to make an incredible Netflix movie or an incredible Netflix documentary, it takes an incredible network of people to put on an amazing funeral service for families to engage in, to evolve in, and to leave a memory in their mind that they say, wow, that funeral was unlike any other funeral I've ever been to in my entire life. Every time I do a funeral for someone, that's literally what I like to hear. I like to hear the excitement they get off of seeing something that's so bad, that's so traumatic in their memory, something they don't want to remember. And you turn that around with your art, with your gifts, with your crafts, and you make it something that they can't forget because you made it special. And when you're binge watching something, nothing can get your eyes off of it. And so I want you guys to have the mindset as you progress through school, as you go from apprentice to licensee, business owner, as you go to, removal service owner, all these different segments, cemetery owner. I want you to remember that you have to constantly watch and be on the lookout for upcoming changes and new developments. Just like in these episodes, sometimes you might get a new set, a new building, a new funeral home, a new location. And so how are you going to adapt to that? How are you organizing your staff? What are you doing to really make the difference and be the difference that you want to see in your industry and even in the world? This is a team effort. This is a game. A good funeral director told me this is a game of straight chess, not checkers. Every move is strategic. You're doing everything for a reason and with a purpose. And the ultimate goal is for you to get that license. And the ultimate goal for the people who are binge watching their shows and stuff is for them to get that Grammy or that Emmy award at the very end. But in our case, it's for us to be those licensed professionals that we were called to be. Listen, I'll give you a personal insight. I've wanted this my entire life. This has been my dream. And it's slowly but surely manifesting, and I'm learning more, and I'm meeting more people, and I'm growing my knowledge, and I'm binge watching everything I can. I remember before I really got in the industry, I'd be on YouTube watching different videos and reading different articles and just trying to absorb as much as I can. You have to understand, you don't know everything. And there's so much even now that I still don't know about that I want to discover and find out. So as you binge watch, fine tune the details, study, read, explore yourself. Talk to your mortuary school professionals out there that are trying to guide you in an incredible and amazing direction for success in your field. And tell them that your goal is to get that license so you can be somebody great in this industry. And there's so many people in this industry, from the people who answer the phones, the people who dig the graves at the cemetery. Any job, no job is beneath you. Every bit of everything we do is a team effort. If you have a strong team, you have a strong mind, and you're constantly watching and learning, and you're willing to listen to everything and learn everybody's job, you will be an unstoppable force. Well, Millennial Morticians, I hope I encourage you guys this week to be unstoppable, to keep pushing, to keep pressing, to binge watch every second that you can, and to stay so extremely focused on the task at hand. I love you guys. I look forward to seeing you guys next Wednesday for the next episode of the Millennial Mortician Podcast. And remember,